Hi, I'm with James Levine, the magnificent music director of the Metropolitan Opera, who today is making his global comeback for our global audience watching around the world, and with Robert Carsen, the distinguished stage director who has directed at every great opera house in the world, and we're so glad to have him back directing at the Met. It's interesting, I think, that this is your first collaboration.
Yeah.
And you have chosen for your first collaboration Verdi's very last opera, and perhaps his most sophisticated and perhaps the most difficult to pull off opera from a musical and I imagine from a theatrical point of view as well. What do you consider to be the essential aspect of this piece?
You want me to start?
Yes, please. You're the producer and you're our guest.
It's such a celebration of humanity, and it distills into music all the greatest, warmest joy that we can share with each other. It's an opera. You know, all theatre is about sharing and the community. There's no theatre without an audience. So the whole relationship of audience-stage is what it's about, and Falstaff is completely that. And also, you know, the fact that we work so hard to get something which is so short, you know, like our lives, ephemeral, right. And Falstaff celebrates all the temporal joys and the sensual joys of eating and drinking and sex and everything. And so it's a joyous, for all that our faults and for all our problems, life is wonderful. And Verdi, you know, after 80 years old, writing this amazing piece, you know, what can you say?
You make it sound very simple.
Well, but we were speaking about that earlier. It's because it's such a masterpiece, and as Robert said, it celebrates all these wonderful things. And as operas go, I think the vast majority of operas are grandiose or tragic or melodramatic, or let us say, not human comedies. And when you come to the ones that are, you quickly find that Meistersinger and Figaro and a few wind up at the top of the heap with Falstaff at the very top. It's just got everything. And it's a simple concept, but the details abound, and there's so many things to concentrate on that fly by at such a rate of vitality and speed that it's a hard piece to do.
And with this cast that you're working with, it's a very large cast. Is this the single largest cast of any Verdi opera?
I wouldn't be surprised. It's got 10 people, right. And that's a lot of ensemble.
It is. But it's so miraculous how it's written, because it all sounds like they're making it up. It's just spontaneous, and of course it isn't. But all the work that you've done and that we've done together, it's all about trying to give this sense that it's just happening because of the energy which is shared between them, and that's the miracle of it. Because there's nothing. The piece is really unique because there's nothing that sounds calculated. It just sounds like life.
Yes, everything about this piece has warmth and humor. Everything is about the celebration of all the really important positive things. And I must say, it was great fun for me to do it with you, because you relish that kind of piece, that kind of work. I think that you're right in the line of the plays that were the sources and the opera itself, and I'm expecting people to have a very good time at this production.
So we're in the intermission. We've passed Acts 1 and 2. What would you advise our global movie theater audience to look for in the third act?
Wow. It's the summation of the summation. I mean, it brings Verdi's output to a close. It brings this piece to a close, and it's approached on so many levels. He actually chose a contrapuntal form called the fugue, which had had its heyday many years before, but he somehow understood what the fugue could do in dramatic terms, in musical terms, and so we have one of the great fugues ever written right there in this piece and tying all these historical and psychological and artistic strands together.
I would also say, when you were asking about what to look for in this act, what's extraordinary in the third act is that after all this social comedy, which is in exchanges of people indoors, I mean, we have the second scene of Act One is supposed to be outdoors, but we've kept them all indoors so that the going out into nature, which is, of course, traditionally, you know, the people get lost in nature as they're hunting. It's like the last act of the Marriage of Figaro. It's like so many of these pieces where sexual encounters and people not knowing who they are anymore takes place outside, and then reason takes over. And in this opera, the way nature takes over, and you suddenly are outside, and in this crazy pantomime that's worked out, all sorts of magic happens, and there's a complete change in the register. The music is totally different, and that's one of the difficult things in directing this piece, is to create something where the strangeness, and it's long, that whole section with all of what's coming, with all of the, you know, all the crazy beasts and the horns on Falstaff's head as the Black Hunter, and how to sustain all of that magic and all of that strangeness. And then comes the double wedding, and then you get this incredible fugue.
Yes.
That is the difficult line.
Don't give away the ending.
We won't.
All right, well, thank you both so much, and our audiences are very grateful, as am I, to this wonderful collaboration on this great piece. Thanks so much.
We have a great time.
Thank you.
Thank you.